Ooh, nice to meet ya. I'm sure you've heard of me. That's right, I'm the duelist of duelists, the master of masters. Maximillion Pegasus is the name. And dueling is my game. I can't wait to show you my stuff. Man, I can't believe this is the second to last episode. I was kind of considering of doing something special. Kind of like, I don't know, like some sort of extra bonus stuff that you can do in this game, but there's really nothing. This game is pretty, to the point. Kind of explored everything that I can, so. I don't know, I don't really have any sort of special connection with this game prior to this Let's Play. It's just since it's my first Let's Play ever of all time. And it's gonna come to an end in one more episode after this one. I'm feeling some type of way. But alright, he's playing two monsters in defense mode. That's really odd. I don't have any sort of monsters that I can summon, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and use Premature Burial prematurely and bring back Neo the Magic Swordsman. I guess I should be safe and use Metamorph just in case he has defensive monsters, but I'm pretty sure he probably has either tunes that can't attack or that. Alright, I guess it's not too bad. Last time I left off, I was trying to talk about the sort of game that I made by myself. And I struggled with this a lot. I tried to do it a lot in DR. And I couldn't really come up with anything. Like, I had a couple of, like, random moments where I would, you know, get some random ideas and try to put it together, but it wouldn't work. Like, most of them came to me in, like, a dream. But I just couldn't get a lot of them to work too well. Damn it, I meant to attack the other one. Because I have a feeling it has a really annoying effect. Oh well. Do I have anything that can take care of that? Nope, but I do have Graceful Charity. Maybe I can Graceful Charity into a Nobleman of Crossout. Alright, now I just gotta figure out what I want to get rid of. I'll get rid of the bell. And I could use Blackluster. I could use Buster Soldier for Blackluster. So I guess I get rid of Axe of Despair? I don't really want to. Or Jinzo. Jinzo's too good to get rid of. It has to be Axe of Despair. And then we could just nobleman this thing over here. No! Oh my god, what a fucking waste that was. Oh my god. That's what I get for pressing the button too fast. Okay, at the very least he gets to bring his monster back to his hand. And if he doesn't do anything about it this turn, he's gonna end up having to discard cards. So, alright. I guess I'm gonna have to get rid of Jinzo, or rather, give it a Dark Elf for Jinzo. Thankfully, we already know what that card is, and it's not really, its effect isn't really that big. I just don't remember what it is. So I thought it might be something menacing, but I know it's not a flip effect. Or it might be a flip effect, actually. Whoops! I guess it just means... what does it do? Okay, never mind. Yeah, that's useless. Yeah, that would have been kind of annoying, but whatever. Alrighty, I'm in my battle phase. I kind of messed up. Should have summoned Beautiful Headhuntress, and I could have summoned Blackluster Soldier as well. But it's a good thing I didn't, actually, so good on me. Alright, kind of wish I still had Jinzo, but okay. So he has Magic Jammer. That's okay. Because I kind of didn't really have too much. I was gonna have to end up discarding Cyber Jar or something like that in order to summon Blackluster Soldier, so that's alright. Because freaking Buster Blade is only 7 stars. I should get rid of him and just get I should get 3 Trihorn Dragons, dump Buster Blader, and dump 1 Blackluster Soldier. That's what I should do to make this deck flow a little bit nicer. Alright, so for the the Duelist of Duelists and the creator of all duel monsters, he's not really putting up much of a fight, but that's primarily because tunes are really difficult to use, especially now. By now I mean like in the current meta of this game, they're really difficult to use because they have very little support. They're more powerful in this stage of the game because, how do I say this? Oh, god damn it, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm messing up all over the place. I could've won this turn. Watch, he's gonna do some crazy nonsense next turn. Alright, no, I couldn't have won this turn. But still, he's gonna do some crazy nonsense. Actually, he's probably gonna summon... I'm just gonna play this face down just in case. Because he's probably gonna end up summoning... No? Okay, I thought he was gonna summon Blue Eyes, Toon Dragon or something like that, but whatever. Anyways, so... that sucks. I lost my Mahavala. I left off, I was talking about this game that I was making. And it was sort of based off the... what was it called? The virtual reality arc in Season of Yu-Gi-Oh! If you notice a theme here, I base off my stuff apparently against cliches in Yu-Gi-Oh! But it was based off that arc, the second one of it. Actually, the first one, the first time it happened, the virtual reality arc, the first part, I decided to make my own version of that. I took a Monopoly, what's it called? A Monopoly board, and I sort of pasted a bunch of like Pokemon stickers all over the place. And I basically, can I return Karibo to my hand? Yes. I basically made it sort of like a board game, but you kind of had to walk around with my, paper Yu-Gi-Oh cards to figure it out. It wasn't a very good idea, I'll tell you this much, because it wasn't very... fuck, I should have left Karibo in him. I didn't notice I didn't have any monsters. Well, okay. I'll just summon him again. It wasn't very, defined of an idea. I should have put a little more work into it. So it didn't really work out too well, but basically I was trying to make my own sort of virtual reality thing. Sort of like the monsters would pop up and you had to attack them to get past and stuff like that. But anyways, this actual game that I was working on was loosely based off the second virtual reality arc, in that mainly just the deck master idea. That's all it was. I really liked that idea, so I kind of borrowed it, kind of. So my game is similar to Yu-Gi-Oh! In that you summon the monsters you attack. Everybody has their own sort of life points. I don't remember what I called it. I think I called it bird points or something dumb like that. But it was the points were a lot less. So basically, I just dropped to 0 and everything. So the life points, quote unquote, would be from in the hundreds, and the monsters' attacks would be sort of in the hundreds. But instead of starting off with 8,000 or 4,000 like in the anime, I instead made it 600, which seems to work out fine. I don't know why specifically I chose that random number, but it actually worked out really good. So I had no problem with that. Monsters were the same. The levels I changed. So instead of the classic, or not classic, like how in Yu-Gi-Oh! You have, your 1 through 4, and, a bunch of other varied levels, I kind of thought that was silly, because I would find myself a bunch of times when I wanted to summon a monster, I would kind of look at it. This is a bad example. Yeah, Jinzo's perfect, and I'd be like, is that 5 stars or is that 7 stars? So I kind of made a way so you could just quickly glance at it and be like, alright, this is this. So if it, if you need a tribute for it, it'll have the number of tributes on it in the corner. If it doesn't, it'll just have 0. And I also upped the number of tributes immensely, so I had a bunch of cards that needed 5 tributes or stuff like that, obscene numbers. But I also changed how tributes worked. So I made it so that you had sort of tokens in your hand, which were, I don't know how to describe it, but they were sort of just cards that you needed to use in order to tribute monsters. So they were separate from your actual monsters cards. You can play them on the field like actual monsters and sort of try and defend yourself with them, and some of them I even made them have effects and stuff like that, but they weren't actual monsters, they couldn't attack. And yeah, you couldn't tribute your own monsters to summon monsters, basically. So tribute summon, you couldn't use the monsters that you had to use a token. And some monsters needed specific tokens. So for example, if I had a monster that like, it was sort of in like Pokemon, even though at the time I didn't know how Pokemon worked. I didn't until like a couple of years ago actually learn how to play Pokemon cards. But it was similar in Pokemon when it comes to like attacks. So like for energy in Pokemon, you need to have the right type of energy to attack. It was similar to that in that sometimes you would need to sort of a token of the same type to summon a monster. The rules were kind of the rules were kind of blurry. Like it was sometimes yes you needed the right monster, but sometimes it was like no you didn't. I didn't really define it all that well. I didn't have any flip effects, and all monsters were face up constantly. I really liked the whole defense mode that they have in Yu-Gi-Oh, and I couldn't get around that. So basically, what I did was I created a sort of way that like all monsters had an attack and a defense point. I think that's what it's called. I think I just left that same because I didn't feel like there's a lot of things that are similar to Yu-Gi-Oh that I just changed the name of it to make it seem different. But yeah, every monster had their own attack, and I knew it was gonna be something like that. Had their own attack and defense points. Attack would obviously be how much they can attack with, but I made it so that at the end of your turn, you could sort of place a monster in guard mode. Very different from defense mode, right? But they stay upright. The only difference is that instead of their going to their attack, it goes into their defense. So it was defense mode, but it's technically not defense mode. You get the picture. And what was the other main difference? I didn't have trap cards that had triggers, and they play sort of similar to secrets in Hearthstone. But you could set them face down, like, oof, what did I do that for? That's what I get for not paying attention. You can set them face down, similar to trap cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! The only difference is that you don't have to wait a turn to use them. So you kind of could just activate them as soon as you got them. The only difference is that, unlike most trap cards that don't have any sort of, I feel like using, Dark Hole, but I'll wait for the next turn, see if how much damage he'll do to me. Ooh, I have to discard a card, damn it. I guess I'll get rid of you. What was I talking about? I mean, I know the general idea of what I was talking about, but I don't remember the actual... I guess it doesn't matter because he doesn't have any tunes on the field right now. I'm just gonna use Dark Hole either way, so it's fine. Actually, I think it attacked me directly. Oh no, it can't attack. Yeah, it has summoning sickness. But yeah, unlike normal trap cards in Yu-Gi-Oh, in order to use a trigger, you had to fit a specific requirement. So, for example, on the bottom of the card, it would have a certain text that says, for example, triggered when opponent summons a monster, whatever. You can only use that card when that happens. So basically, all my trap cards were counter trap cards, but there were also a lot of. I managed to sort of cheat, so I had a couple of cards that were kind of like, no, I don't want to use it. That were sort of like triggered by point value, which means you could use it whenever the hell you want, or triggered by something. Like I literally think there was a couple that's triggered by something happening. But yeah, that's the general idea. Spells work the same way. The only difference is that I had spell levels. So there were certain cards that you needed to use. I don't want you to draw. There were certain cards that you needed to use cards in the previous turn. So basically, if you had like a level 3 spell, I don't remember the exact rule for it, but I think you had to have used at least 3 spells in that same turn, and you would kind of in your graveyard turn it sideways, so you can't use it again in that turn. But you kind of, in that sort of sense, you would sort of sacrifice your spell cards from the graveyard, even though you could reuse them again next turn. It's basically like mana, because you could reuse them every turn. Yeah. So that's basically how that worked, more or less. But there weren't really a lot of them. Like 3 is probably the highest that I ever had. I might have gotten ridiculous and had a couple of cards that cost 5, but they weren't really used. My main reason behind this was just sort of I was really against the ban list. I didn't really like banning cards and not being able to use certain cards. So what I did was, what the hell? That gives you 500 points when it's destroyed? Or did he use a card for that? Let me check. Hold on a minute. Because I know there's a couple of cards that work like that, but this gives you... Yeah, why the hell did he get 500 life points? What the fuck was that? Oh... Okay, whatever. Jesus, what the fuck is wrong with this game sometimes? Shoot. Can't summon anything. I really wanted to win this turn, but... Oh, shoot. You know what I should have done? I forgot that this is an attack mode. I think I might have just enough. Nope. Oh, no, it wasn't just enough. Alright, cool. I wasn't sure if it was just enough, but yeah. That was my way of getting around really strong spell cards, is that you had to sort of pay to use them. So basically, I tried to put everything on the same level, so there wasn't a need to ban cards. So stuff that was really strong needed a high cost, stuff like that. So that's why I did that with spells. So for example, a Raigeki would be like a spell that was level 3, stuff like that. And I had like spell tokens as well. And it was basically just a spell card that did nothing, but you would just activate it and that's it. You could use it later on that turn to sort of sacrifice for it. And the only other thing I had was that I had sort of deck masters, kind of, but basically you had in your extra deck, you can sort of, you can select cards. You have a select number of cards there. You can have sort of cards that you can summon at any time if you have tokens for them, and these cards needed a specific token, at least one of a specific token to summon, and any other token. And you would, you would tribute, use them, and summon them, and they would have really strong effects, and it would be, be able to like turn the tide of the duel and whatever. But the one catch was, if at the end of your turn they're in your graveyard, you automatically lose the duel. So that was sort of my way of like balancing that out. And it was pretty interesting. The game was pretty diverse, or not diverse. I meant to say it was pretty fun, but I was gonna say later on it wasn't very different, which is why I accidentally said diverse. It wasn't entirely too different from Yu-Gi-Oh, which was its main issue. Like, it needed something more to differentiate it from Yu-Gi-Oh, because it was kind of pretty much the same thing, just with some sort of bells and whistles. To the point that later on, wherever I would like, I used to get bored sometimes. I would just kind of like play with the cards myself. That I just started using like Yu-Gi-Oh rules, so like you can play monsters in defense mode and stuff like that. Because I was like, oh fuck it, who gives a shit? It's really not that serious. But alright, so that's gonna do it for this episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! The Eternal Duelist Soul. See you soon.